Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking at a truly classic book today, one that's been influencing people for decades, really.
hmm It offers this foundational approach, many people feel, to just being effective in your life, at work, everywhere.
Right. And it feels timeless, doesn't it? You read
Yeah.
it now and it still hits hard.
It really does.
Yeah.
Just as powerful today as, 30 years ago.
So that's our mission here. We've dug into the source material you shared, and we want to pull out those core ideas, the surprising bits, the things that make it last.
And importantly, why it matters for you right now.
Exactly. What is effectiveness, really? And maybe the biggest surprise, where does it actually start?
Yeah, the starting point is often not what people expect. One of the first big ideas in the book is actually about how our whole definition of success has shifted.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that. Because the book draws this really sharp contrast, character ethics versus personality ethics.
That's the one. If you look back, say, at early American writing on success, think Benjamin Franklin, it was all about character ethics, meaning things like integrity, humility, courage, justice, patience, core virtues, real character. Success came from who you were.
And then
Yeah.
something changed.
Around the turn of the 20th century, yeah. The book points to this big shift towards what it calls personality ethics.
Which is more about,
Public image, techniques, skills, networking, positive thinking, even specific tactics for getting people to like you. Less about being, more about seeming.
and the book is pretty critical of that shift, right?
Oh, definitely. It basically says a lot of modern stuff is just superficial fixes. Aspirin and bandages is the phrase used.
Addressing symptoms, not the real problem.
Exactly. Treating the headache but ignoring the cause.
So the core idea it keeps coming back to is that real, lasting success and happiness, too, isn't about techniques.
No. It's about aligning your fundamental character with these basic, unchanging principles. Things like fairness, integrity, dignity, service. The book compares them to natural laws.
Like gravity. You can't really argue with gravity.
Precisely. They just are. And this leads straight into what the book calls the inside-out approach.
Inside out, that sounds foundational.
It really is. Maybe the most foundational idea. It's that real change, lasting change, has to start inside you.
Not just tweaking your behavior.
No.
Yeah.
Deeper than that. Your paradigms, how you see the world, your character, your motives. You have to change who you are at the core first.
And then the outside stuff changes.
Then the behavior, the attitudes, the relationships can genuinely improve. The book gives simple examples.
Like,
Well, if you want your kids to be more cooperative, you first have to be a more understanding parent. If you want more responsibility at work, you need to be more responsible first.
you have to be trustworthy to be trusted. Seems obvious when you say it like that.
But we often try it the other way around, don't we? Trying to fix the outside first. The book calls this a natural law of development. You need primary greatness character before secondary greatness, like recognition or status.
Wow. That really does flip the common approach. Build the inside first.
Exactly. And to understand why that inner core is so critical, we need to talk about another huge concept, paradigms.
Paradigms.
Right.
The book explains these as like our mental maps, how we see and interpret everything.
Yeah, our maps of the world. And here's the kicker, the really surprising part.
Go on.
The map is not the territory. Your paradigm, your map, it's just your interpretation. It's not reality itself.
And if your map is wrong,
Doesn't matter how fast you run or how positive your attitude is while running, you're headed the wrong way. The fundamental problem isn't your effort, it's your map.
the book uses those visual puzzles, doesn't it? Like the picture that's both a young woman and an old woman.
Exactly. Or the duck rabbit one. Two people can look at the exact same data, the same picture, and see totally different things. Honestly, sincerely see different things.
Because their internal paradigm, their map, is different.
Right. And history is full of these huge paradigm shifts. Copernicus saying the Earth wasn't the center, Einstein changing physics, germ theory in medicine.
These weren't just new facts, they were entirely new ways of seeing.
Totally new maps. And the book argues that our own biggest breakthroughs, those aha moments,
Yeah.
they often come not from new information, but from a sudden shift in how we see the information we already have, like flipping a switch.
So real change often requires changing that fundamental map, the paradigm itself, not just fiddling with the details on the old map.
Exactly. It quotes Thoreau, chopping at the leaves of evil is pointless if you don't strike at the root.
And the root is the paradigm.
The root is the paradigm.
Okay, that's a powerful foundation. Character, principles, inside-out paradigms. Where do the habits fit in?
Well, the book structures them logically. The first three habits are about self-mastery, moving from being dependent to being independent. These are the private victories.
Private victories. Got it. Habit number 1.
Be proactive.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
It's the opposite of being reactive, feeling like you're just a product of your circumstances or your feelings. The book talks about different kinds of determinism people believe in.
Like blaming your genes or your upbringing or your boss.
Right. Genetic, psychic, environmental determinism. Proactivity says, no, you are responsible.
And it brings in Viktor Frankl's experience in the concentration camps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a profound insight. He realized that between what happened to him, the stimulus, and his reaction, the response, there was a space.
A space to choose.
A space to choose his response based on his values. That space is our human freedom. That's proactivity, taking responsibility, your ability to choose your response.
Wow. Makes those quotes hit differently. Eleanor Roosevelt. Nobody can hurt you without your consent.
Or Gandhi. They cannot take away our self-respect if we do not give it to them. It's saying the real power lies in our choice, our internal consent.
And proactive people focus their energy differently.
Yes, on their circle of influence, the things they can actually affect. Reactive people waste energy worrying about their circle of concern, things they can't control.
Like complaining, if only my boss wasn't like this, or if only the economy were better.
Exactly. Putting the control outside yourself. Proactive people work on the things within their control, starting with themselves.
Okay, makes sense. Habit 2.
Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind.
Begin with the end. How does that work?
It's based on the idea that everything is created twice. First, a mental creation, a plan, a blueprint, a vision. Then, a physical creation, the actual building or doing.
And if you don't do the first creation consciously,
then you default to whatever circumstances or other people's agendas create for you. You let life happen to you.
the book has that really striking exercise, the funeral visualization.
Yeah, it's intense. Imagine your own funeral. What do you want people to say about you? About your character? Your contributions? What really mattered?
It forces you to define your own end, your own definition of a life well lived.
Precisely. It's about defining your own success, your deepest values. And this ties into the difference between leadership and management.
Ah, yes. Leadership is.
Deciding what's important, what the end should be, making sure the ladder is against the right wall, that's habit 2. And management.
Is climbing the ladder efficiently, doing things right. That comes later. The book uses that jungle analogy.
Right. The managers are down below, sharpening machetes, clearing undergrowth efficiently.
While the leader climbs the tallest tree and shouts, "Wrong jungle!"
Ha! Yeah, you can be very busy going nowhere important.
Exactly. So habit 2 is about becoming your own leader. Often, this leads to creating a personal mission statement.
Like a personal constitution.
Kind of, yeah,
Correct.
your credo. Focusing on what you want to be character and do contributions. It guides your choices.
Which leads very naturally into habit 3.
It does. Habit 3, put first things first.
Okay, so if habit 2 is figuring out what's important,
Habit 3 is doing what's important, day in, day out. It's the practical management side, organizing and executing around your priorities.
this is where the time management matrix comes in, with the 4 quadrants.
Yes. Quadrant 1, urgent and important crises, deadlines.
Yeah.
Quadrant 3, urgent but not important, many interruptions, popular activities. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important, time wasters. But the key, the book argues, is quadrant 2.
Absolutely. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, but important.
Like what?
Planning, prevention, building relationships, exercise, learning, recreation. Sharpening the saw, which we'll get to, these build long-term capacity.
But they don't shout for attention like urgent things do.
Exactly, so they get squeezed out. The challenge is finding time for quadrant 2, and the answer is...
You have to take it from quadrants 3 and 4. You have to consciously choose the important over the merely urgent.
which takes proactivity, habit 1, and clarity about your end in mind, habit 2. It means learning to say no sometimes.
Saying no to the urgent but unimportant stuff, that takes courage.
It does. The book mentions the common denominator of success.
Oh, I remember this one. It's good.
Successful people make a habit of doing things that failures don't like to do.
But wait, there's a twist.
Right. They don't necessarily like doing them either, but their purpose, their commitment to their values is stronger than their dislike.
So discipline isn't about willpower alone. It's about being dedicated to something bigger.
The word discipline comes from disciple, right? A follower of a purpose, a mission. It's internal commitment guided by your values.
Okay, so habits 1, 2, and 3. Build that foundation of independence, the private victory. Now what?
Now you move to the public victories. These are about effective interaction with others, achieving interdependence. They build on that private foundation.
Makes sense. You can't have good relationships if you haven't got your own act together first.
Precisely. So habit 4 is think win-win.
Win-win, not win-lose or lose-win.
Or even lose-lose, which can happen when two win-lose people dig in their heels. Win-win is a frame of mind seeking solutions that are genuinely beneficial for everyone involved. It requires cooperation.
And this is linked to having an abundance mentality.
Yes, critically. The scarcity mentality sees life as a fixed pie. If you get more, I get less. It fuels competition and insecurity.
But the abundance mentality
Sees that there's plenty to go around, opportunities, resources, success. It allows for creativity, sharing, and believing that a solution good for everyone is actually possible. Win-win flows from abundance.
Interesting. So you need that abundance mindset first.
Ideally, yes. Along with integrity and maturity, the balance between courage and consideration.
Okay, so you're aiming for win-win. How do you actually communicate effectively to get there?
That brings us to habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Seek first to understand. That feels backwards sometimes. Everyone wants to be heard first.
It's countercultural for sure, but the book argues it's the absolute key to effective communication. Why do talks break down? Often because we listen autobiographically.
Meaning we filter everything through our own perspective.
Exactly. We judge, probe, advise, interpret based on our own experiences. We're often just waiting for our turn to speak, preparing our reply, not truly listening.
So the alternative is empathetic listening.
Yes. Listening with the genuine intent to understand the other person's reality.
Yeah.
Stepping into their frame of reference, seeing how they see it, feeling how they feel it, temporarily setting aside your own stuff.
That requires real effort and humility.
It does, and the book brings up that communication sequence. Ethos, pathos, logos.
Right. Ethos is your character, your credibility.
Pathos is the feeling, the empathetic connection.
And logos is the logic, the reasoning.
And the surprising thing is the order. We often lead with logic, but the book says ethos is first, do they trust you? Then pathos, do they feel understood? Then logos, only then will your logic likely land effectively.
Build trust, show understanding, then make your point.
Wow, it changes how you approach conversations, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
when you combine win-win thinking with truly understanding others.
You cat.
Habit 6, synergize.
Synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. 1 + 1 = 3 or 10 or 100.
Right, it's creative cooperation. It happens when you genuinely value the differences between people.
No, so you...
Well, because everyone sees the world differently, remember paradigms, those differences aren't problems. They're potential assets. Combining different perspectives allows you to create solutions that no single person could have imagined alone.
So valuing diversity isn't just a social good. It's actually crucial for innovation and problem solving.
According to this book, absolutely. It uses that funny story, The Animal School.
Oh yeah, where the duck is great at swimming but fails flying, and the eagle aces flying but flunks climbing.
And they try to make everyone average at everything. It shows how silly it is not to leverage unique strengths and perspectives.
And trust is key here too, I imagine.
Huge. High trust allows for open, creative communication. That's where synergy thrives. Low trust leads to defensiveness, compromise at best, but usually worse outcomes.
Okay, so private victories lead to public victories. Independence builds interdependence. How do you keep it all going? Prevent burnout.
That's the final habit, habit 7, sharpen the saw.
Keep the tools sharp so it works well.
Exactly. This habit is about preserving and enhancing your greatest asset, which is you. It makes all the other habits possible long-term. It's continuous self-renewal.
And the book breaks this down into 4 areas.
Yes, 4 dimensions of our nature.
Physical,
Taking care of your body, exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management.
spiritual,
Connecting with your core values, your center. Could be through meditation, prayer, nature, music, reading, inspiring literature. It's about your why.
mental.
Keeping your mind active and growing. Reading, learning, planning, writing, visualizing. Continuous education in a broad sense.
And social emotional.
Building and nurturing relationships. Making positive contributions. Investing in your emotional bank accounts with others through kindness, integrity, keeping promises.
The book emphasizes making this a regular practice, doesn't it? Like a daily private victory.
Yes, committing time, maybe an hour a day, to renewing yourself across, ideally, the physical, spiritual, and mental dimensions. It's not selfish. It's essential maintenance.
It builds the capacity to handle everything else.
Exactly. It prevents burnout and actually increases your ability to live all the other habits effectively.
And there was something about service in there, too.
Yes, a beautiful point. While getting acknowledged for contributions is nice, there's a special kind of renewal that comes from anonymous service, helping just to help, without needing credit.
That connects to the idea of self-transcendence, moving beyond just focusing on yourself.
Right. Finding meaning in contributing to others, to causes, to future generations. And habit 7 fuels this ongoing upward spiral.
Upward spiral.
Renewing yourself in one area helps the others. Living any habit makes the others easier. You grow continuously.
So, pulling it all together, it's a framework, starting inside out, building character, gaining independence, then moving to effective interdependence, all sustained by continuous renewal.
That's a great summary, and it empowers you to become what the book calls a transition person.
Meaning someone
Someone who consciously decides not to pass on negative patterns or habits they might have inherited. They break the chain and create a positive legacy instead.
that's incredibly powerful, choosing to change the script.
Yes. And the book uses that story from Man of La Mancha about Don Quixote and Aldonza.
Whom he insists on calling Dulcinea.
Right. He sees her potential, her inherent worth, even when she and everyone else sees only her difficult past. By treating her according to his paradigm of her nobility, he helps her change her paradigm of herself.
It shows how seeing the best in others, that primary greatness,
Yeah,
can be so influential.
absolutely. It highlights that ultimate effectiveness isn't just about achieving things for yourself, but about contributing to the growth and happiness of others. Self-transcendence.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for everyone listening, something the book really prompts you to consider.
Yes. It essentially asks, are you making the consistent investments now, today, to build and maintain your capacity for effectiveness tomorrow?
And that's not just about work or money.
Not at all. It's about your health, your spirit, your mind, your key relationships. Are you actively, regularly sharpening the saw across all 4 dimensions? It's a challenging question to sit with.
It really is. It shifts the focus from just doing things to building the capacity to do things now and in the future. A lifelong process.
Rooted in principles that don't really change.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. So many powerful ideas packed in there. Thank you.
My pleasure. They certainly give you a lot to think about.
Absolutely. We hope you, listening, found this valuable. Maybe reflect on those core ideas paradigms, inside-out renewal. Perhaps pick one habit or just one aspect of sharpening the saw that resonated today.
And think about one small step you could take.
Just a small investment starting today. It can make all the difference. Until next time on The Deep Dive.